Hello, hello. We are back this Thursday. Welcome back. And to all the new people who may be showing up. Welcome to Sex Ed with Coach Katasha. Oh, let's see what we got going on. I just got in a fight with the vacuum cleaner because it was about to pull the light over. Okay. Let me go to. Ooh, did it already come back up? Oh, Hulk Hogan died. I would be sad, but you don't like black people, so. Oh, darn. Okay. Is this from yesterday? Hold on, let me refresh this. Welcome, welcome. Come on in. We are going to be talking about sex tech today. It is Sex Tech Thursday. It is. Okay. All right. Welcome to this Thursday's episode of Sex Tech Thursday. Today, why is that in the way? Today we are going to be talking about Digisexuality 2.0. So, whole this series, this Sex Tech series came about just because there's like all these new things that are happening in sex education and we kind of don't learn about them until the rich people have already taken advantage of everything and stuff like that. So we will, of course, hello Panda Momento, we can absolutely be TikTok friends. Absolutely. Welcome all of y'all for coming. Just a slight warning, this is I am a certified sexuality educator, so we will be discussing things of a sexual nature today, but we will not be discussing, things that can get us banned. Pretty much. That's what we're not discussing. We still talk about stuff, but just a small warning is that if you are new here, we are going to be talking about sex. So if you are a little piqued around that conversation, I do encourage you to stay because even if you are a little uncomfortable with talk around sex education and things like that, you still need to know. You still need to be aware of what's going on with your body. You still need to have an idea about how to treat your sexual issues, and how to address things with physicians. All of those things are important. So stick around. We won't be too bad today, but I can't guarantee that all the days. Okay. So essentially, today we're going to be talking about digisexuality. Digisexuality is a term that was initially coined. Ooh, don't, I'm finna lie. I don't want to do that. Hold on. It was by Neil MacArthur and Marky Twist. It's a framework that is central to. It originally started with the first wave of digisexuality, where technology kind of got into a connection with. Technology created a connection between human partners, and then that's how digisexuality was born. So it is a. Hold on, I had a good definition. Where did I put it? Oh, where did I put it? Oh, here it is. Hold on. A sexual experience that depends on the use of advanced technology. I'm like, I know I had the definition. So essentially, digisexuality is what the future of sexual connection embodies. And it is the experience of sex with the tool of advanced technology of what we have available now. And so this digisexuality was coined by these two researchers, MacArthur and Twist, and it is a construct that is a little bit. At the time when they were putting it out, of course, it was brand new, but it's not as an undercover conversation as it was before, because many more people now meet on like dating apps and online and through social interactions and social media. And so it is a little bit more um, understandable, and people don't look at you as weird if you say that you were dating online. But at the time that these frameworks were coming together, it was not normal to be, people thought about meeting people online. They were like, those are all murderers. Everybody that you meet online is a murderer. So, those AOL chat rooms used to be lit, but those people, they perpetuated that. Well, I'm not going to say those people, because there were people that are going to behave inappropriately no matter what. And essentially, that's probably what happened, is that people were behaving inappropriately. And, it just got this stigma of any kind of interaction that was not a face-to-face social interaction was never a true interaction. Well, digisexuality um, compromises that thought, because we know now that you can definitely make secure connections with people just from online, just from meeting online or having relationships online. And so it has grown. And so that was the first wave of digisexuality. It was technology that facilitates or enhances intimacy between two or more human partners. So what that did was, we're talking about the introduction of sexting and the introduction of watching online porn, or apps like Grinder and Tinder, that were, specifically the people that were using them are mostly using them for the same reason. And then you even have teledildonics for long distance relationships, which we talked about in another one of our Sex Tech Thursdays. Teledildonics is the practice of long distance partners sharing experiences with toys separately. So you're talking about someone being on vacation in Atlanta, or being on a work trip in Baltimore, and their partner being back at home in Kansas, and they can buy a set of toys that are synced together, that they can use together even though they're far apart. So that's what teledildonics means. And then video sex and chat platforms. We saw a lot of like the rise of cam girls, things like that. That specifically was more so in between 2017 and 2022. Now, it did not say this. It did not say this in the information that I was reading, but from what I'm understanding, the pandemic had a big part to play in how fast we moved into the second sector. And so when you start talking about the second wave of digisexuality, we're actually talking about engaging with the tech as the primary partner. So it removes the human element altogether. And we're talking about specifically engaging in a sexual experience or a romantic experience with technology. And of course, doing that can replace or displace the need for a human partner. So there's going to be all kinds of things up and down about it. We're going to talk about all of it today. Like, what are the concerns that people are having? Like, is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? And I definitely want you to chime in um, if you have an experience with digisexuality, either positive or negative. We would love to hear about it. You can drop it in the chat if you want. But I also believe that as time evolves and as things keep moving and going forward, there is going to be a time frame where people are going to evolve, and in all the times in history that's happened, we just have to be prepared for that. And oh, what am I doing? But sorry, but a lot of times we're not prepared for it, right? So keeping that open and understanding that there are going to be ways that humans learn to interact with each other. I think that that part of the conversation was expected, but I don't believe that they were prepared for the way in which humans expected to experience the technology without the humans. And so when you're talking about this, so that's Digisexuality 2.0. And we're talking about like AI companions, having a robot as a companion, or um, having an intimate companion in anywhere in the virtual system. You're talking about sex robots, robots that are specifically made to feel this need minus the human body, minus needing the human to be a part of the conversation, or, to get this need filled without the need of another human. And then you have immersive virtual reality sex, with you actually get in these, you get fictional or game-based characters, like, and there are other people in the world who can appear in these games as well, but most of the time those characters are just characters that are made up by the system. There are ways that two people can interact virtually, even though they're both humans. They can still, I'm pretty sure, as it, like I said, it's going to keep evolving, because that doesn't fall in either one of these categories. So there's probably going to be a 3.0, 4.0, 5.0, so on and so forth. But I do believe that digisexuality is going to be a growing trend, and it already is, but that people will start recognizing that that's what they're participating in. And how you participate in digisexuality just depends on what kind of needs that you're trying to get met. You can also put in this category interactive porn that actually responds to feedback. That's also considered a form of digisexuality, because you are engaging with a machine, and the machine is learning and is adapting to your needs and your desires, and you can build that. And then any other kinds of erotic experiences that have no need or desire for another human being. And this sector is actually growing a lot, especially with the discourse that is going on now between, men and women, and, all of these things. There are many people who are moving towards experiencing eroticism without a human element at all. And so that's also going to be That's going to be it. I think that's a category that's going to grow as well. But what we're the main differences is in the first iteration of digisexuality, we were talking about just making it easier using technology for humans to connect, and for humans, for partners to connect. That's what we were using it for. In the second wave, the technology is the partner. There is no need for human interaction. There is no, and again, when you think about it on a broad scale, it definitely could have some repercussions, and we'll get into those a little bit later. But I don't think that that's going to stop it from becoming a thing. I still think that the that digisexuality is going to grow, and that the need for human connection, even though, I mean, for some people, there are people who are always going to need human connection. There are people who, thrive on being in the spaces with other people and absorbing that energy. But there are some people who do not enjoy that life. They don't want to be around you. They don't want to like engage with you. They don't want to do the things that are necessary to get the sex out of you. They would rather just have that relationship with technology versus another partner, someone that they can mold and create the perfect experience with. So it I think it is still going to grow. I think it is still going to continue, and there are going to be other pieces that people are going to fall in as we learn more, and as technology keeps going. We're absolutely going to run into a broader sense of what this is and how to move in it. And so the attraction, or the idea of sexual based technology or intimacy based technology is not a new idea, right? Of course, we call it technology, but even when you were talking about mechanical, they found um, sex toys old. They're old sex toys. So, there are people who have been using tools um, to enhance sexual experiences for a very long time. And so, with the invention of technology, now we have a new tool to use to expand that concept. And that's just going to be the new wave of human tech intimacy. That's what we have to look forward to. So, what are we essentially discussing? We're essentially discussing the rise of digital desire, and from the way that it went from those old stone dildos. Even though that's not part of technology, I do consider it a part of technology for that time frame, because you would have had to think of a need and then create something to fulfill that need. And I do believe that that is how technology is born. And so, to go from that to having a automated, artificially intelligent lover is it's a long stretch. But since the addition of technology into the sexual world, which started, I don't even know, like, um, vibrators have not, I mean, they have been mechanical. Like, the very first ones were created by doctors to cure hysteria. And so, I mean, it's always been that, but it's never been like, and this is for advanced technology. So we're talking about light, sound, haptics, all kinds of things, not just, manual creating of a thing. So when you think about that, and it going from those stone toys to, toys for curing hysteria and other issues, to virtual reality, to interactive toys, to having like sexting conversations with a bot, with a chat bot. all of those types of things are going to be what the future will expound on as we continue to explore digisexuality. Okay. Now I've been talking for a little bit, so let me make sure I'm not leaving anybody else behind. Okay, we look good. Let's see. Okay, that looks good. We're good on here. If you have any questions or any comments about what we're talking about, you can go ahead and leave them in the chat. I have such a busy, like, I'm looking until Tuesday. I'm like, geez, Louise, something every day. My calendar just popped up. Okay. What was I looking at? Oh, I was looking for, I need to check Facebook. It doesn't show me the Facebook chat here. Oh, and it doesn't let me. Oh, it might let me pop that out. Can I continue watching? No. I want to pop the chat out. Create a clip. Nope. Okay. No, okay. It doesn't show that I have anything or that I missed anything. All right, all right. So let's talk about where this comes from. Where did it derive from? The need for this. Was it love, lust, loneliness, or or was it liberation? So many people struggle with human connection outside of a sexual relationship, just regular human connection. You hear people often talk about, I don't know how to make friends as an adult, and I don't know how to, I moved to a new place and I don't know how to, link up with everyone. I don't know how to blah, 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 whatever. And so it's hard maintaining friendships as a regular person. So of course that is going to create a space where people can go that removes some of those anxieties, that allows them to be able to connect without, some of the social anxiousness that comes with that, right? Because when you go out, you're not just being judged by the person that you're talking to. You have a sense that you're being judged by all the people around you. And so even when you're, you know, at a bar or something and you're trying to talk to someone, you're worried, is people seeing me? Am I on somebody's Snapchat? Somebody judging, and am I going to appear on a TikTok video later? And people laughing at my pants, or it's all kinds of things that make it more difficult for people to be able to connect. And I also think that the pandemic, like, definitely pushed that second wave of digisexuality into play, because the pandemic was a time when people did not have the ability to connect with each other. They did not have the means, or it was unsafe to connect. And so that's where those different types of companions come in, is that, in a space where connection becomes difficult. And so if that is going to be the future of how we experience the world, is that something that we should have as a backup already? Should we have a um, a method of communication that keeps us interlocked and keeps us intimate, even with each other and with the technology? And so why is that an important lane the ability to be intimate with technology, because not everyone has the social skills, not everyone has the practice, not everyone has the confidence to go out and go through the motions of attracting a partner. And so virtual spaces give people the practice time to be able to practice some of these conversations, some of these moves. Per se, can you teach me some moves? Some of the moves to be able to successfully go out and do that. And if, the way that we had to practice on people. And that is a very traumatic way to practice, especially if, in this day and age when you could end up a very public laughing stock for trying to do something that, you weren't 100% how to do, but you're still in the practicing stage of doing it. So virtual spaces open that up for people who are awkward in certain situations to be able to gain some practice and gain some insight without having to actually harm the other person or harm yourself. And so, one of the things that I have on the schedule, is that a spider? No, that's one of the kids' braids. It's hanging off the hammock. I'm like, is that a no? It's a boho. Anyway, but yeah, it opens up the space for that, and I think that's also important because it could be used as a learning tool. And some people, um, when they get backed into a corner of rejection, they turn to violence. And if they are attempting to, try something or try a move and it doesn't work per se, and say, the person laughs at them or any type of anything they perceive as rejection, it can turn violent. It can get very dangerous very quickly. And so having these training spaces open is going to be also good for society. But here's the thing, as with all new technology, the people who need it the most won't have access to it, right? The people who can afford it will have first dibs and will be able to shape what that world looks like. And so it won't be used to train or to quell some of the anxiousness of social interactions. It's going to be used in however way the people who have money set the foundation for it to be used. And so if they decide that it's going to be just a hookup thing, if they decide that it's going to be abusive or whatever, they can turn that space into that, because they're going to be the ones with first access and first dibs. And we'll find out about it later, and it'll probably never be used to help people. It's only going to be used to satisfy the commercialism that we peddle in, many of the countries. So, but I do want to let you know that if you do struggle with social anxiety, with, hey, Christina, hola. If you do struggle with, being able to connect and being able to create intimacy between you and another person, Digisexuality may be a good start for you. You can start by talking to, artificial intelligence, by robots and all those type of things, just to get the practice and to also work on the rejection sensitivity, right? Because you're never going to get it all the way right, and you don't want it to result in violence when you get it wrong. And so I think that would be an important tool to use to help people to solve some of the issues or find ways to communicate and to try out some of those things without actually having to harm another person or, get backed into a corner where you feel like that violence is your only option. And rejection sensitivity, it is terrible, but it's also very real. It's very real. And it's not something that I would expect, a victim to have to call out. I'm saying you as a person, you may experience rejection sensitivity. You may have big feelings around things not working the way that you want to, or someone turning you down or telling you no. And obviously, with the amount of sexual assaults and things that we have in each of the 50 states in the United States, at least, um, people struggle with not having access to other people and not having access in the way that they want. And when they don't get that access, they get violent, they get belligerent, they get abusive. And so we could be using this as a tool to help them to move through those feelings without causing harm. But again, we definitely won't use it for that. So we know that, if it's going to be used to better society, if it has the ability to better society, it'll be used to, pedal boats or something. It'll be used for something completely different. So I mean, that is the premise of that digital desire, and wanting and trying to grow your attachment to the technology. Um, and I mean, this is not a new concept. We've heard about, people who've only had online relationships, who have never met their partners, who have never, done any of those things, or um, any of the regular relationship requirements or relationship moves. They have not participated in any of that. And this is a safe space for them. And then some people are asexual and also aromantic. And so if you are asexual, then that means that you don't build a bridge that requires sexual activity. So you can have a connection with someone or something and not require sexual activity. So I could want to care for you. I could want to tell you about my day. I could want to hear about your day. I could want to hold your hand when you're sick. I could want to, make a family with you. I could want to do all those things. But I don't move to sexual experiences in the same way that other people do. The bridge, like, how arousal works. So someone comes along, they do something to trigger your desire for sex. So a smell, a taste, a comment, an action, something triggers the desire for sex. Once that desire is triggered, then the arousal process starts. So if you can get into that arousal process and can help, pad, trying not to get us blocked, help us pad some of those experiences, then I think that needs to be an open option, right? So that's what asexual is that I just don't build the pathways to sexual arousal or desire the same way that you do. Someone who's a romantic may want to have a purely sexual relationship with you, but does not want to hold your hand and does not want to coddle you and does not want to take care of you when you're sick and does not want to build a family with you. They simply just want to have a sexual relationship with you. So either one of those options, Digisexuality works great for that. If you don't want the human component, and sometimes you don't, sometimes you still do, there's a lot of different ways to experience attraction and sexuality. And so if you don't want to do that, if you're not interested in a sexual relationship, then you can absolutely build that relationship online with no one if you don't want to, or you can build it with someone you're never going to have to address that with. You can build that relationship with someone who lives in Afghanistan that you're never ever going to see, but you check on them every single day. You sent them a graduation gift. Y'all got matching tattoos in your respected areas. I don't know if they can do that in Afghanistan, but you know what I mean. Um, so you have all of these connections that you can make that have nothing to do with sexual activity. And that is where virtual reality and digisex shines. And so, if you know who you are and you know how you operate, it is important that you are opening up your mind to understanding that there are a lot of different ways to be connected. There are a lot of different ways to create intimacy that are not just the heteronormative, straight down the line. I call you, we talk on the phone, we text. I ask you, how's your day? I say, good morning, grand rising king. And, all those good things. It can be a place where you feel free and and that's what people say who exclusively maneuver um, their sexual interactions through advanced technology, is that it feels safe for them. It feels like they have some sort of control and that they can craft the kind of life that they want without, the actual societal stigmas that come along with it. Virtual reality doesn't care if you're poor. I mean, you won't obviously be able to access it because that's what we do. Again, we keep those things from other people. But when you get on there, it doesn't matter if you're poor, it doesn't matter if you're fat, it doesn't matter what color you are, it doesn't matter any of those things. You can be whatever you want to be online. So that creates a space where people can feel safe and feel like they can move without being judged in the society that we're currently formulating. And I want to say currently formulating because right now we are creating the foundation of how our children will be perceived and how our lives will be perceived in the future. That is happening right now. The amount of care that you will have, the amount of technology that you will have. I just saw recently that they're talking about internet as a right, as a fundamental right. And of course, everyone's up in arms having access to advanced technology. It's up in arms because, that's not something that we think that people should have. Meanwhile, I cannot take cash and go in and pay my rent or pay my mortgage. I cannot go online. You cannot even go to some places without an app. You cannot even do some things if you don't download an app. So if we are creating a world that's going to move towards fully digital movement, then it has to be a right. It has to be a right. Otherwise, you also need to be putting funds and foundations in those manual processes. If we're not going to do that, then we have to provide the thing that people need to survive. You can't tell people that you need a phone to call 911 and then don't provide them with phones. You can't tell people that they have to keep keep this on. You have to have a place to live and then outprice insurance. We can't keep moving like that. And again, when I say we're creating the foundation of how things are interpreted in the future. Those are some of the things that we're doing. We're setting people up to where this is going to be a fully digital globe. Fully digital globe. If we're going to do that, then digital services have to be a right for everyone. Because you cannot shut out poor people. You can't create a class of people and divide the class of people based on access when the access is based on money. We're going to leave a whole part of society behind just because they couldn't afford internet. And we built the world to revolve around the internet. So it's going to be a give and take, but we're going to have to stand in the gap. We absolutely are. We're going to have to stand in the gap. We cannot, I'm not saying that people should have the right to digisexuality, but I'm saying that in the future, they might. In the future, it might be a right. And I'm saying that I agree with that right now, that it should be. It absolutely should be. If you're going to create, if you're going to change the way that people live and move it online and then no longer support not being online, and I'll give you the perfect example. Um, if you have Facebook, when Facebook first came out, it didn't have an app. It was just Facebook, right? It was just you go online. Um, so, okay, we could get to that. Um, when when Facebook first came out, it didn't have an app. When they moved to the app, they stopped servicing the online, um, the web page. And so I remember I got screenshots in my phone. I remember when that push for everyone to get apps was happening. And so when you got the app, you had access to certain things. Like I can't upload a picture onto Facebook because I don't have the app. I can't message anyone if I don't have the Messenger app. So it puts you in this place where everything is moved away from you being able to use it you can be unless they can collect your data for it. Unless they can be in your business about it, they will limit what you can do on it. And so as far as China and like what they're doing with their internet, so I don't know about like how they are spreading it or getting it out. I do know that they do monitor their internet highly. And so there are things that, we have access to that they don't have access to, but many of the poor people still do have access. If they want, they do still have access. But I do think that globally, I wonder what, I don't know about, um, so we looked it up yesterday, and there is not a lot of fiber and fiber is how the internet moves through different places. There's not a lot of fiber in places, and to get fiber to those places, you have to, be able to connect it to somewhere else that there's fiber. And so there's a lot that has to be done, but we were supposed to be doing it. So that's even here in Oklahoma, we had a bill. We got some money to extend, like to create communities and connections in different places. I don't know if that happened or not. I'm probably going to say no, since I saw that Ryan Walters was giving his friends extra checks. So, but as a right, like that was part of the federal budget, was to create infrastructure so that rural areas can have internet access, so that there's kids can have learning. And that was another big thing during the pandemic, because there were so many places that didn't have access to internet, but we had to move everybody to virtual learning, right? So if you're moving everybody to virtual learning, then you need to have a system where everybody can access the virtual learning. And so it's things like that that I believe that are going to change the tide in people being able to have internet access, because you can't you can't punish the kids who don't have the option for virtual learning if you can't give them internet in that area. Like if they can't get it, if it's not available, then you can't punish them for not having that option. And that's essentially what we're doing. We're leaving these other people behind, and creating infrastructure that leaves them behind. And that's where I think that it's going to change, and where we're going to have to move it to an inherent right, like water and shelter and things like that, because we've moved the world to this system. We've moved how back in the day, if my daddy just had cash, but he didn't have no credit cards. He didn't do nothing with a credit card. Didn't even have a debit card. Never have that. Never need that. Never do nothing with that. He took until he died. My daddy took his money every month to his ex-wife so she could pay it, so she could go online and pay all it to the day that he died. He took that money to that lady, and she paid his bills. So if you're creating a world where he can't go in and do his business, then we're gonna have to update that. It's gonna have to happen. And so with that, also it's gonna be a boom in the way that we connect as people, and the way that we connect in the way that we connect with technology as the partner. And you're going to even see this outside of sexual relationships. People are trying to use their technology to be their therapist. You hear people talking about Chat GPT as using Chat GPT as their therapist. I do not recommend that, but if you don't have the money and you trying to be better, do whatever you need to do until you can get it. But I would rather you talk to somebody who can look at you, who can take into account your race, your gender, your sexuality, and take all those things into account and see you, and not just give you the regurgitated details. But if the regurgitated details are going to keep you here, then I'll take that too. Okay? So you're going to see that even beyond sexual intimacy issues or sexual intimacy experiences. You're going to see a rise in digital companionship. And it always makes me think of if you've ever seen iRobot. There was a point where Will Smith was going to go visit his grandma, and she was making these peach cobblers, and he was loving these peach cobblers, and he went over and he got that peach cobbler, and she was like, "You like it?" He was like, "Don't nobody make a peach cobbler like you do." She was like, "I didn't make that. The robot did." That's her little friend, the robot. And he was disgusted. He was disgusted because he thought that he was getting a homemade pie with love, but what he got were the recipe from the love. And so I do think um, yes, Japan and China have sister services because of the need to connect another human. Absolutely. So, and if you just think about the way that that's changed over time, like I specifically believe that cam girls evolved because of this, because of the need for connection without the actual connection. And because if you think about it, having a camera, like, if you think about all the stuff we did with cameras before then, like we wasn't doing it. We didn't think like, oh, I should start a, boop, boop, boop. But that's what happens when a need arises and the technology to fulfill that need is present. And so I absolutely think that it's important. And we talk about the loneliness epidemic. We talk about it in terms of human to human connection, but maybe this could help with the loneliness epidemic as well. Because I'm going to be honest with you, some of those people are undesirable in their current state. In their current state, they are undesirable. So maybe if you do a little practice with a little online thing, then maybe you could work towards building a relationship with a real person. Because again, some people have core values that they have picked up online and from their abusive parents or from trauma and all these different things that make it really difficult to love them. Really difficult to love them. And that does not have a gender attached to it, right? That's just the way that it is. And if you can create a connection online, either with the technology or with another human through the technology, maybe that would make it easier for you to create those connections without the technology, right? And we see people talk about, being socially awkward all the time. Like, I get in these parties, I really wanted to come, I got dressed because I wanted to be here, but then when I got there, I just stood in the corner because I was overstimulated and there was so much going on and, blah, blah, blah. Now, me, of course, as an extrovert, I don't understand that. I'm here for the party. I am the party. You don't, honestly, you don't even need nobody else here. You just need me. And I tell my friends that all the time, like, baby, it just need to be me and you. And it's a party. That's all it need. And so I was lucky to be born that way. but that is not something that everyone experiences. And so, we just have to keep the options open on what you can use to make you more desirable. And, in action, I know that that's not what people necessarily want to hear, but sometimes the reason why you don't have a connection is because of you, right? It's because of you, and you can take that however you want. You can take it however you want. But if everybody's out here is dating and nobody wants to date you, I'm just saying. Hey, I'm just saying. Okay, you should be. If you good, you should be able to choose. It shouldn't be no loneliness epidemic if you have the ability to choose. So if you are caught and you feel like you are part of that, and you feel like everything's against you or whatever, I would recommend that you try some online options. Try Digisexuality. See if it's a part of it that you are interested in, or that you are, it might be something in there that could help you along. And at the end of the day, that's the goal. I don't want you to suffer. I don't want you to be lonely. I want you to be desirable. I want you to be desired. But if you're not, if you don't feel like that is your existence, then let's look at some different options. How can we address that? What should we do? Now, on the flip side of that, any type of online relationships, intimate exchanges, all those types of things, it's going to be really new. Okay. So we still have a lot of issues with like ethics and morals surrounding virtual reality, right? We talked on another Sex Tech Thursday about assaults, sexual assaults in virtual reality. So you have people who are showing up in a virtual world, and they are becoming the victims of assault still. And although it is a virtual reality, because it is meant to be immersive, you still feel like you were assaulted. You still run through the emotions, even though it didn't happen to your physical body, because you are supposed to be immersed in this world. You do feel like you've been assaulted. And so I was discussing this. It was so funny. I was discussing this with a dude, and he was like, man, that's some bullshit. Like, blah, 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 whatever, like, yeah, it is, but like, it didn't really happen. I was like, okay, cool. So say you open up your game and a man came up behind you and just followed you around and just slapped on your butt the whole time. Like, it's like, y'all got me. No. It's not a real thing. That's what you said. It's not a real thing. And so if it's not a real thing, then you should be just fine with men walking around in this game, grabbing at your crotch while you trying to play, coming at you, trying to jump on your head, trying to pull you in the alleys. You should be just fine with that, because it's just a game, right? And then we just had to sit and look at each other. And then he told me to shut up. He told me to shut up. Okay, well, that's on you. That's on you, man. So you have, you still have ethical concerns with virtual reality. And even on top of that, like, what if, like, okay, so is it cheating if you Christina would it be considered cheating if you are in a relationship and you build a partnership or an intimate relationship with someone online, right? So there are still a lot of ethical concerns. There's also the implied or informed consent. So, are we having the conversations about consent with AI? And can AI even consent? Should AI consent? Like, how does that work? And so there are, oh, and also like um deep fake porn where they are using your body and making videos and making pornographic scenes with it without your permission or without your consent. And even though it's not really your body and it's not really you, does that still skirt a line of consent issues? And so there's going to be a lot more like growth and conversations around how we address digital sexuality. But I do think it's important to start that conversation. It's important for us to get out in front of it and um, making sure that we are keeping people's feet on the ground as well. I saw that this has nothing to do with sexuality, but I saw that there was a young man having a manic episode, and he was asking ChatGPT about, if to debunk this theory that he made on like time travel or something. And the AI was like pushing him and like telling him like, yeah, he had it, and he was literally going through a manic episode, but AI was telling him that he was fine. And yes, we need regulation on that. I believe Australia just passed a law on owning your right on an image. Yes, there's like 3 places right now that are currently bringing virtual reality laws like into play. But again, it's like we're still just talking about like maybe 3 or 4 places because it's still very, very new. But yes, I did see Australia on that list. Um, where like if somebody makes like a deep, you own the image of you, like you own that. But it's also like addressing sexual assault in virtual spaces. And some of the states, I think it was California that we looked at during when we did that Sex Tech Thursday, that was trying to find a law that was closest to what that is, like closest to what virtual reality sexual assault can be prosecuted as. But the other side of that is that because virtual reality is not a place and these are not people, that does not constitute as an assault, as a sexual assault. So we're going to have to grow the language, because what's going to happen is if we don't do anything, the people who are going to use the service for ill intentions, they're going to they're going to make what it's for. They're going to set the framework of what it does. And it is going to be so difficult to change it once that happens. And like I said, if you went on to Grindr right now to try to find an actual partner, you would be hard pressed to do that. Whereas I know there are plenty people on that app that would like to be in relationships. But because it's been set up as a hookup app, most of the people there have an expectation of hooking up. And it's so difficult to change that image once it's set. So if we can get ahead of this and we can get ahead of addressing consent, the ethical complaints, addressing like, non-consensual AI, all those types of things, if we get on top of it and we get in front of it, hopefully we can set the narrative versus letting them come in and setting the narrative that it's going to be this, terrible place where people are just going to be doing all kinds of crazy stuff and, just all the regular stuff that comes along with that. So I would hope that we can use the technology for what it's for. But at the end of the day, technology can amplify intimacy, but it can't replace humanity. It can't take away that if we are intentional about the way we use it. If we keep the communication open, we say this is a tool to use to be able to help you to grow in your intimate connections, to help you to practice and set the foundation for this, if we're intentional about what we're using it for, we can really like create a difference. We can really make a difference in an area where not many people are addressing it. Because I still believe, and I know that people think I'm biased because I am a sex educator, but I really believe that a lot of what's wrong right now is sex. Like, I really do believe that. I do not know how to explain this to you, but life is better when you're having good sex. Like, it really is. If you're having good sex with someone that you are interested in, that you have created a connection with, someone that you feel safe with, even all the hard things, like all the hard parts are just easier. Just easier. And like, you can have a partner. You can have 5 kids. Y'all can be together 31 years, all that. But if the sex isn't good, you could still have a really rough relationship, a relationship where people talk to each other crazy. And you ever seen them couples that just be, well, what the fuck do you want? But they've been together like since they was 18, but they just talk to each other like that. Like, it's just, I just feel like there's so much that people don't understand about sexual interactions and the the job of casual, not casual, I'm only saying casual because it's not making a baby, but the job of sexual intimacy between two people. It's not just supposed to be to, get to the orgasm or to the resolution. It's supposed to make an experience that you both can connect with and enjoy. If you're doing that, then like life is just easier. Even in the hardest parts of it, it's just easier if you have that person. And that's not always, like I said, everybody's not sexual beings. I completely understand that. If you are asexual, that joy could come from somewhere else. But only about 1% of the population is asexual. So in most people, in the instance of most people, you should desire a sexual connection. You should desire an intimate experience. And it should be one that you enjoy. And I think a lot of times people are having intimate experiences, but they are not enjoying them. They're not enjoying them. And so I also have a question because it came up in when I was doing the research on this, is that the dating sites now are doing AI matchmaking. Has anybody used that? Has anybody used like, how does that work? What would they be doing? Like, does it ask you how do I don't understand how you would use that, but I'm super interested. Like, what does it do? I'm sure if I ask my AI, who do I love, it's going to tell me Big Daddy Bruce. Are you cheating? You already knew that. But I think that's dope too. Like, if it's how I think it is, and again, I don't know how this process works, but if it is a process where they take, an AI gets to know you, the kind of things that you like, the kind of things you want, what scare you, what bring you joy, and then it finds a person built on like how it does resume matching. Like, how you can take a resume and you can take a job description and it can build a resume based on the job description. If you can do that with matchmaking, you might be on to something there. So like, I'm wondering like, how successful is that? Who's using that? Let me see. Let me Google and see who's using AI matchmaking. Oh, okay. Tinder, Bumble, Hinge, Grinder, and Sitch. What's Sitch? It says it's a newer app. This is the AI answer, so I don't hold me to it. Okay, matching algorithms. AI analyzes user data to identify potential matches and suggest compatible partners. Tinder, Bumble, and other apps are using AI to improve their matching algorithms. Okay. AI Tools can analyze your user profiles and suggest improvements to make them more appealing to potential matches. Some apps offer features like AI powered bio generators. Ooh. So I used to do dating app bios. Um, I loved it too. And those dating app bios are so important. Um, People used to be coming to me and I'll go in their bio and they'd be like, and don't talk to me if you have, and make sure you swipe this if you random frag. Take this off of her. You is not this mad. Take it off. um, some apps provide AI powered dating coaches that offer personalized advice on communication, conversation starters, and even how to handle difficult situations like ghosting. Keepler provides a relationship guide, Carrie, to help rewrite feedback for users. Wow. I mean, okay. Oh, hold on. It says while AI is increasingly integrated into dating platforms, it's important to note that some experts raise concern about data privacy, potential biases in algorithms, and the impact of relying too heavily on AI for romantic relationships. Okay, you know what? I mess with that. I do. Um, Especially the data privacy part. That's the reason that I don't have any apps. I got like I don't have no apps on my phone. I don't have no notifications. I don't use. I have the Instagram app, and I wish I didn't, but you really can't. It won't let you use the web version of Instagram. And so again, like they put you in a bind where where they are taking access of your data, right? You have to use this, and if you have to use it, then I'm gonna take your data without you knowing, because you have to use this thing, and then I'm gonna sell that data, and I'm gonna make a bunch of money off of you. And then those people that get that data are gonna start blowing your phone up, trying to sell you stuff, trying to call and talk to you about your car insurance and about your home warranty and about the American Home Shield and about, Home Depot and like all these different people trying to call you and talk to you about and sending you emails and all these things. So they sell your information, make billions of dollars off of it, and then annoy you on the back end. You couldn't just sell it quietly and I never had to know that you gave my shit away. Like, no, you done sold it and now they on my phone. Let me sell it. Let me make the money if I got to be the one inconvenienced with all these damn calls. So, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like there has to be a new way to date right now. I don't know what it is. Maybe I should work on that. Like, you have to see. I've been really trying to see like what the future of everything is now, and like trying to see where I need to slide in, right? Because I want to be on the ground floor or something. Like, I don't know what we doing. I want to do that. So I want to see, like, just thinking about where we've come from so far, to see like what we're gonna end up with. I need to see it. I need to see it. So and I want to be there when it happens, and that's the point of this Thursday show, is that I want to know, and I want to be able to tell you. We just kind of learn together, so we must figure it all out together. Okay, so let's talk about what we only have. It's Thursday, ain't it? Yeah, it is. Okay, so rest of the schedule for the week is going to be um, tomorrow, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. We're going to be talking about Late Night with Coach Katasha. And we're going to be just talking about all the new, whatever's going on in the news in sex and relationships. And we definitely finna be talking about Coldplay, cuz. So be ready for that, because I see his wife changed her picture and changed her name and wrote a long old thing. So I wonder what that looks like. You think he's gonna get fired? I don't know. We still got to tomorrow. We'll see. Um, but we're gonna be chatting about that. That's gonna be tomorrow, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. So make sure that you're following us and so that you can get the notifications when we go live. I don't go live often. I only go live on the time frames on this schedule, so you don't have to worry about that. I do want to start doing it more, but I don't know what that looks like just yet. You know me, I got 651 projects right now. I mean, right now. Like, no. Right here. They're all this. I'm just doing 2 corners a day. That's all on everything. 2 corners a day. But I love it here. I want more of it. So I don't have nothing to say. This is my life and I'm here for it. So we will have late night with Coach Katasha tomorrow. Let me this is our schedule. I will have a new schedule that comes out Sunday that has the weekly schedule on it. But this is our schedule for all of our shows. So we have Monday is going to be Sex Ed with Coach Katasha, which is our basic sex education. I can't do too much, but I could do a little bit on there. So that's just going to be basic. We won't talk too much into to heavy stuff. Okay. Tuesday is Pleasure Tools Tuesday, where we talk about different external tools that you can use to bring into the bedroom to spice it up. Wednesday is our Ask Coach Katasha, where we do a live Q&A, so you can stop in. I love Wednesdays. It's probably my favorite show. You can come in and you can ask me your questions in the chat. If you don't want to have that conversation in the chat, you can email me at expressionofrepression@gmail.com, and that I will get your question and bring it back to the chat and on Wednesday, and we can answer it there, but it won't be attached like to your name and stuff. So that's not what I meant to put. Hold on. Okay, that is my email, so you can send it there. If you don't want to send it to my email, you can send it to any of my social media inboxes. I am going to need some grace because I do have a lot of social media inboxes, and, y'all are going to send it to my Tumblr and then block me because I ain't answered it. So, just give me some time, okay? I do have to do the research on the questions that you ask. Sometimes y'all ask me about like the ridges in your butthole, and I don't know, and I have to go look it up. So give me some time if you do send me the questions. If you are not shy, you can just stop in on Wednesday at 2:30 p.m. At 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, and just drop your question in the chat. On Thursdays, we do SexTech Thursdays, where we investigate new advancements in sexual technology. And then Friday is Late Night with Coach Katasha. And that's just our little late night show, just to check in, see how you are for the week, see how everything's winding down. We talk about all the new things in love and sex and relationships and all that stuff. So, make sure you are tuning in, that you are following us so that you can get the notifications when we do go live, and that you don't miss any of your favorite shows, okay? We are also going to be starting a Patreon. We actually had a Patreon for like 5 years, but we ain't been on there. But there's some things on here that I can't discuss that people are asking me questions about. So I'm going to open up my Patreon for you to use. And until September 1st, I'm going to let everybody in at the $2 or $2.99 tier, whatever that is, before I implement my other tiers. So just to kind of grow my audience, and if you want to get on the ground floor, you can follow me on Patreon. It's Coach Katasha as well. And where you finna go? Okay. Wait, you say you doing what? Oh, okay. All right. Love you. I'll see you in a little bit. So you can keep up and make sure that you have, all of our stuff saved. Make sure you're following us on all of our socials, because we need friends. No, I have friends. Just not too much. If my friends heard me saying that. Anyway, bink, bink, bink. She don't need no damn friends. So let's just strike that one from the record, okay? So that way we save me and save you. Speaking of bitches, the state fair is coming up, and I need to buy me and my wife some tickets. So I need to do that today. I think I am going to do that today. Get us some tickets so we could go to the fair. All right, all right. So that is our show for today. We will be back here tomorrow at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. I appreciate you for stopping by today. If you want to go check out any of our other streams, you can go look on our YouTube and at just any place where you need, wherever you're watching this, just type Coach Katasha in the search bar and I should come up. If you have any questions or you need to reach out to me, it is expressionoverrepression@gmail.com. I will see you soon. Peace and play nice.